Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today is a very special episode of Splat from the Past because it is Valentine's Day and I have loved this lady I will be interviewing my whole life. And I'm talking about Stacey Nelkin. Yes, the curly-haired beauty from such classics as Up the Academy, Serial, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, Yellowbeard, Get Crazy, so many others. And she is now an expert on parenting and relationships. And I'm having her on the show today to talk about all that stuff, and I'm so excited. Like I said, I have loved her just forever. She is a gorgeous lady, and I can't wait. This has been the best Valentine's Day ever. Truly the best Valentine's Day present. So, here is my interview with Stacey Nelkin.
Hello.
Hello, Stacey. Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I am just wonderful. It's Valentine's Day and love is in the air.
It sure is.
It sure is.
It sure is. And buying cards and chocolates and all of those de rigueur things, right?
Absolutely.
Gotta do them.
Gotta do them, yes.
Happy Valentine's Day, Tommy.
Oh, happy Valentine's Day, Stacey. Thank you. This is such a wonderful honor. I thank you so much for taking the time today.
Of course. And I noticed I was looking at your bio. You attended the same high school as my first husband.
Yes.
Did you know that?
I sure did. I met him at a convention, and I told him.
Uh-huh.
And
great.
I got to tell you, I told him, I never got to beat our rival team in football, and he was very disappointed. He was like, Tommy, I am so disappointed in you.
Not that he played football, mind you.
I know he didn't.
And my husband did, but not that Barry did. But anyway,
yeah.
Good school, nice area. Nice.
Yes. San Mateo. Yes. Just so you know, Stacey, if you feel the need to use any four-letter words, shock away because nothing offends me.
Oh, that's great because that's basically how I speak.
Awesome. Me too. So, going back in time, you were pretty young when you became a working actress. What age did you start gravitating toward acting and that you decided that you were going to do it?
I started, it started really when I was like 7 years old. And just would imitate movies and characters I saw on TV and all of that, and started getting the leads in school plays literally from third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth, seventh, eighth, and then at 14, because I was living in New York City, I got a manager, and I auditioned, for 2 years straight. Didn't get one fucking job, not one, for 2 years straight. And I auditioned probably every day after school for commercials, films, whatever. And then on my 16th birthday, no joke, I got 2 national commercials, joined Screen Actors Guild, and then started working. And, and that was when I met Woody. He cast me in Annie Hall.
Right.
And then all of a sudden I was on a roll. And at 18, they flew me out, John Hancock, who I had met doing, when he was auditioning for Jaws 2, he remembered me, probably because of my boobs, and offered me a part in a movie he was directing called California Dreamin', a surfing film. And he offered me the part. The only caveat was I had to bleach my hair blonde. And I did, and they flew me out. I turned 18, a few weeks before. They flew me to L.A., put me up at the Continental Hyatt House. It's no longer called that, but this is right on Sunset Strip. And, until I went to a better professional hairdresser that the film paid for, I looked kind of like a tacky, I don't know what. I don't want to put any minority down, but it looked pretty tacky because it was like orangish whatever. And literally every time I went in the elevator at the hotel, because the hotel was only rock and roll guys and prostitutes, I would get propositioned. So somebody would think I was a hooker. And then we wound up shooting in Pismo Beach, Northern California. You know that area.
Yep.
And I felt like I'd been landed on a different planet, and not in a good way necessarily. You know, everybody was, you know, the surfing guys, and, you know, they spoke like, bitch and plus, and stick and plus, and it rad, dude, and it was like, where the fuck am I?
Yep.
And, you know, that was my first film, and I decided to stay. I got a good agent in L.A., and I stayed for, 16 years.
Wow.
So, yeah. So, but, I literally saw my career, the rise and the fall. It's pretty depressing, the fall, when, people you know and love no longer return your phone calls and things because you're not on, whatever list of theirs. So it's, I went back to New York. What can I say?
Yeah.
It's a very rough business, but
it is.
But I had a fun time. I got to work a lot, so I was lucky, I guess.
Yes, and that reminds me too. I consider you a pioneer in rocking the curly hair because there wasn't a whole lot of women doing that at that time.
I guess you're right. Although the '80s, it was pretty bad high hair time, right? The shoulder pads and the high hair, and it was all pretty awful looking. But what can I say?
Yeah,
it was natural. That this is before people would go to the blow bars or whatever they call them, the dry bars.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
First it was you, and then Diane Franklin, and then a few others.
Right.
But
right.
you were the pioneer.
A few others.
Yeah.
Right. Elizabeth, what's her name? The one who did, the one where she Showgirls. What's her name?
Elizabeth Berkley.
Yeah. Berkley, right. She's got, a lot of them. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a look at the time. Yeah.
But so you had a bit part in Annie Hall that was cut. So what was your scene?
I'm sorry, what did you ask? What was my part?
What was your part in that movie?
I had a great part. My character was Doris, and I was the older cousin of Alvy when he was young. So my scene took place in the 1940s, and I was this older cousin. I was supposed to be like 16, and Alvy was like 11 and had this mad crush on me, and I'm suggestively sucking a lollipop, reading cartoons with my, my boobs hanging out of my shirt, basically, tight sweater. And Alvy then supposedly every woman he chose was because of Doris. Doris had that kind of impact on him. And, when Woody and I were dating, when he sent me to the screening a year later, and, at dinner that night, he just kept talking about editing. And this is, at that point I had done some little TV things and commercials, so I didn't know that your whole part could be gone.
Yeah.
And so, I'm in the screening room, and Jackie O is there, and all the, big-wig New York City people. Tiny little screening room, but everybody was famous there, except for me. And I'm waiting, and I'm watching the 1940s parts of the film and thinking, okay, here it comes. And no, nothing. So that was kind of an awful experience, only because he never said, look, you're not in the film. He just kept talking about editing. And, sometimes people are cut from films entirely. He never said, Stacey, you're not going to be in it. I'm so sorry. So it was kind of a rude awakening. But, that wasn't the first time that's happened to me or any other actress,
Yeah, Quentin Tarantino did that to Dick Miller for Pulp Fiction. He never forgave Quentin.
Well, right. You rest your hopes on these scenes that will take off and they will be memorable. I mean, look at Jeff Goldblum in Annie Hall. You know, he had like a 2-second scene, but it was totally memorable.
It's hilarious.
Helped them get other things. Right? I forgot my mantra.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I love that movie.
He's a wonderful man. I haven't seen him in years, but we used to take dance class together, and one night we actually decided to go for a date, and it was just too strange. It was not a good chemistry thing. But he's a great guy.
Yeah.
And brilliant, scary smart.
Very eccentric. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sad that you got cut from the movie, but for what it's worth, it's one of my favorite movies of all time. And
mine too. Isn't it a wonderful film?
Yeah.
Every bit of it is just beautiful and funny and sad and poignant and you know, it's great. It's a great film.
Yeah.
And we need the eggs, right?
Yes, we need the eggs.
We need those eggs. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember doing the TV movie of the week, Like Mom, Like Me?
Oh, of course. With Linda Lavin and Christy McNichol. Yeah, sure. That was fun. I had a fun part. Yeah. Why, you remember that movie?
Yeah, and I met Christy last weekend at a convention, and she is just the sweetest lady. Oh, my God.
She's great, right?
Yeah.
Good. Oh, gosh. Okay, I haven't talked to her or seen her in, decades. Yeah, she was really terrific. Really terrific. Yeah.
Yeah. And you remember Michelle Larita, who played Melissa?
No. Now, who's that?
She was one of the friends, and she was uncredited. But she told me, I interviewed her last month. She told me that she remembered meeting you one day and that you were very sweet to her.
Oh, that's so nice. I'm sure if I saw her face, I'd remember her.
Yeah.
I vaguely remember the name, but I remember basically the people playing, the dad, and wasn't Patrick O'Neill in that film?
Yes.
Yeah, before he died. And, Linda Lavin I bump into occasionally in the city. And, so.
Yeah. You did.
Don't remember Melissa, but say hi to her for me. I'm glad I was nice.
I will. You did a short-lived Western series called The Chisholms.
Oh, yeah. Now I really would like to take this opportunity, Tommy, to get this shit straight, because in Wikipedia or IMDb or one of those things, they talk about me being replaced by Delta Burke. That is not the case.
Okay.
I played Bonnie Sue Chisholm, and they offered me to do it as the series. And I didn't want to be doing a series at the time because, I thought I might have a film career. What a schmuck I was. But, and turned down a lot of money. And then they gave it to Delta. And I wound up doing Up the Academy and some other things. But at the time, I was being a little snobette and, turning things down. Now I look back, I go, wow, that was a lot of chutzpah. But I think my agents also felt the same way, and I guess the series did okay, but, the cast in that was just friggin' amazing to get to work with Rosemary Harris, who, the most lovely, beautiful, wonderful woman, and and Robert Preston, and Brian Kerwin and I bump into each other occasionally. Just great people in that,
Yeah.
So it was a real honor, and we got to travel across the country. It was amazing for like 12 weeks. It was fantastic.
And
a lot of fun.
Another guest of mine, Victoria Racimo, was in it.
Who did she play?
Let me look that up right now. She's a she's a Filipino lady, And
oh, did she play one of the Indians or something?
yeah, she always played a squaw in something back then.
Yeah. Okay. We had people coming and going, and it was so great. It was so much fun. And Jimmy Van Patten I've worked with a few times. He played one of my brothers, and he was in California Dreaming.
Yeah.
He used to pick me up at the Hyatt House and drive me to rehearsals. He was a total California boy. It was a really, really nice cast. It was really fun.
Yeah, speaking of Brett Colin, I interviewed this one actress who told me she did a TV show with him one time, and the only thing that she remembered about it was that she fucked him.
Yeah, well, that's good she remembered his name, because as I go back, in memories, there's some guys I can't even remember their names anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I remember kind of what they looked like, but I can't remember some of the names, which is really scary. Yeah.
Why did it get canceled so quickly? Because it seems like every Western show after Gunsmoke got canceled, didn't last after that.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. I really don't know. I think it was just, it wasn't, what's the great one now with Ian McShane that was on Westworld? Deadwood, thank you.
Yep.
It didn't have the grit of something like that they can make now, and the sex and all that. I mean, this was, the 80s, and it was, not like the Virginian. It wasn't the early 70s. It was just sort of, nobody wanted that at the time. I guess they wanted Love Boat and, all those kind of Aaron Spelling things.
Yeah, the syrupy shows.
Right. Yeah.
You did a hilarious comedy I used to watch on Comedy Central a lot back in the 90s called Serial.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah.
I'm so glad somebody's seen it. I love that movie. I had the maddest crush on Martin Mull.
Really?
The maddest crush, but he was having, I think at the time, a little thing with Tuesday Weld, and I don't blame him because she was gorgeous,
Mm-hmm.
But I was crazy about him, and then years later, I don't know, at least 15 years later, I worked with him again, and he didn't remember that I had a crush on him. He's like, "Wow, I wish I knew at the time." He's great. He's on another show now. It's called I'm Sorry. That's on Netflix.
Right.
And he's so great. I loved him.
Underappreciated genius. Yeah.
Right? Totally. And, he's an extraordinary artist, too. He's a painter. He's, he's something.
Yeah. I read that Christopher Lee said this was one of his favorite movies he ever did because, for one, it wasn't horror, and two,
right.
He got to show off his American accent.
It really had an amazing cast. Sally Kellerman was totally nuts. And I'm trying to remember, it was, and Bill Macy and all these great people. I mean, it was such a fun movie. Such a fun film to make. Yeah.
Yeah. They need to bring that movie back on TV,
I agree.
Classic.
Because it was very kitschy. Yeah. And the book was very good. It was based on a book by Syra McFadden. And it was a really cute book, So they took it from her book, and I think Bill Persky did a really good job.
Mm-hmm. Bill Persky's a good writer. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
My favorite early role that you did was Candy in Up the Academy.
You sick little puppy, you.
Yes.
Yeah. That was another very crazy movie. Oh my God. A lot of weed, a lot of cocaine, a lot of fun, a lot of craziness. And it was being out. We filmed in Salina, Kansas, and the people were so great there.
Mm-hmm.
And what an interesting and strange film. And Barbara Bach was dating Dan Risner,
mm-hmm.
one of the producers at the time, and guess who she wound up marrying right after that?
Ringo Starr.
You bet. You got your trivia exactly.
Yep.
So
Right.
Became a huge 20th Century Fox, like running the studio or something.
Before Disney bought it.
Acting.
Yeah, before Disney bought it. Yeah.
Right. And so that was really fun. That was a really fun movie. And, I mean, Bob Downey, he's friggin' amazing.
Yeah, did
director.
Did Robert Jr. hang around the set?
Robert Jr. not only hung around the set, he actually, in Vanity Fair, touted me as the reason that he became an actor, because one day, yes, he was hanging out on the set because it was the summer, and, he was with his, or whatever it was, I think it was the summer, he was with his dad. His dad had, custody for that period of time. I guess he was like 15 or 16, and I was 18, or 19. I was maybe 19, maybe 20, and he had a little moped, little like scooter with an engine before its time, and he gave me a ride back to my hotel room, and he touted, because I was kind of rubbing up against him, but you have to hug somebody tight on those little things, and he just thought this is the greatest thing in the world. And it was incredibly flattering. I had no idea. I had a big crush on his dad. So I was always looking at the older men, so I wasn't aware.
Yeah.
He was a kid to me. When you're like 19 and there's somebody 15, you don't even think about them that way.
Yeah, I love it.
Now I would. So.
I love it when Hutch Parker, he's going to sneak in to go see you at the All-Girl Academy.
Right.
And from the window, he's like, I'm going to sneak in through the front. And you're like, okay, I'm going to brush my hair.
Right. It was so crazy. It was so, funny.
And how was it working with the late Ron Liebman in that bondage scene?
Oh, he was, Ron, I think, just hated being there, and he wound up taking his name off the film. And I don't really know what had happened, but, he could be kind of tough. We were all doing a lot of coke. He was doing a lot more than I was at the time. I just put it that way. He was much older and more of a pro. Jessica Walter was my movie mom, like 2 or 3 times. So when they got together, which was weird because I also knew Linda Lavin, who was Ron's first wife, I would bump into Ron a lot in New York. And I actually tried to reach out to Jessica recently. That must be very hard. They were a great couple. He had a lot of anger. He had a lot of stuff. But he was incredibly talented, Ron. Incredibly talented actor. And, like a lot of us, a neurotic Jew. And, he had some stuff, that he was able to get out, and what was that series he did? I forgot. He was amazing.
Kaz.
What was it called again? Kaz?
Kaz, yeah.
Right. He was great. He was very talented. But, on that set, he didn't seem to be so happy to be there. Maybe it was because it was, Kansas. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? I don't know.
He turned in a great performance, though, and I still quote that line. He says, "It makes you stand out like a turd in the punch bowl."
Right. Exactly. He was great in that part, in fact. He really was.
Yeah.
He really was, with the bulldog, and he was great.
The bulldog, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He gives him a condom, remember?
Yes, exactly. Right. You know that movie well, and Ralph Macchio, he did. Yeah. He did okay for himself too.
I know. I was looking it up. He was 19, and he looked 13.
Yeah. Oh, he looked like a baby.
Yeah.
He looked like a baby when he did that. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's he's almost 60 now, and he looks like he's 35, my age.
Yeah. freaky genes. It's true. He's he's a freak of nature that way. We should all age as well as he does.
Yeah.
And he's very sweet. I bumped into him at some of these conventions. He's he was always very, very earthy and sweet, and
Yeah.
Not Hollywood.
It's sad, too, that Mad Magazine closed down.
I know. I grew up watching that. You're probably way too young for that.
Oh, no, I had it in my generation. I remember...
Really?
Yeah, I remember picking it up and seeing a Seinfeld parody called Swinefilled.
Perfect. Oh, so I didn't realize they were doing it up until that point. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, very sad. But, the whole Mad Magazine thing, they tacked that on way later. That was not when we did the film from the get-go. That was not part of it. That was an afterthought. And we all had to get together and shoot the end of the film where they did this whole Alfred E. Newman thing.
Yeah.
I guess Mad Magazine, wanted to be part of the film. And, and I guess it helped in a lot of ways. But, so that was kind of tacked on at the end. They could have, had they done this before, they could have woven it into the film more. But I think at that point, all the actors were going on their own separate ways, so they could only do one scene,
Yeah.
At the very end with the car driving by. And
Yeah, play it again.
Right.
And, Rick Baker designed that Alfred E. Newman mask.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Rick Baker from Werewolves of London?
American Werewolf in London.
American Werewolf in London, yeah.
Star Wars.
Wow.
So many great movies.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I'm going to be meeting him at this convention in May. I'm going to ask him about designing that mask.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, it was massive. It was huge.
Yeah, it was a good job, too.
Yeah, I think so.
And then you did the silly Going Ape.
I had so much fun doing that. I mean, that was an amazing opportunity for me. I mean, I auditioned. I think I beat out Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
Everybody screen testing for it was blonde, and I thought, there's no fucking way they're going to hire me. Because Tony's a brunette. They don't want me. And I got the part. I was, it was, Paramount film.
Right.
It really, I think they thought it was going to do really well. And, of course, another one that didn't do well. But it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. And Danny DeVito and Jessica, it was great.
And Art Matrano and Tony.
Art Matrano, Art had a horrible accident. Yeah.
That was sad.
Oh, terrible. Yeah. And what is it? Was it Silvano Victor? All these, the great Italian actors. Yeah, it
Tony
was really
Danza.
fun.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. And these sweaty orangutans, And the last scene I had to run, with the youngest one of the Rusty, the baby. I think Rusty was the baby. I can't remember now.
Mm-hmm.
Baby orangutan, who was not that heavy, but after holding this thing for 20 minutes, he would start sweating on me and smelling it. It was, and let me tell you, those orangutans got taken care of really well.
Yeah.
Really well. I think they got paid more than I did on that film.
They're tough animals.
Oh yeah. And the trainer was pretty tough too, Bobby Barasini. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that nobody got to see that movie really. It's a shame.
Well, my parents actually went to the drive-in to see it with my grandmother.
Oh, you're kidding! Oh my God.
Yeah, they took my grandmother for a night out, and they took her to see it, and then they showed it to me on video like years later, and I was like, what is this?
Yeah, craziness, real craziness. Yeah. Yeah.
I was reading that you got cast in Halloween 3: Season of the Witch almost immediately after you were reading for it.
Really?
Yeah.
And how is that? How did that happen?
I don't know. You tell me.
Well, I did. I got cast, and we started shooting probably 2 days later. They were, I think, stumped as to whom was going to play this part. And at the time, Perry King and I were living together.
Oh.
And the makeup artist, Ron Walter, who was one of, Perry's really good friends. And Ron also did our makeup for Last Convertible, which is how Perry and I met. Mm-hmm. Ron was already hired to do Halloween 3. And he kept saying, we would see Ron all the time. Or actually, maybe Perry was living with Ron at the time because he had just left his home. And before we lived together, and Ron kept saying, Stacey, you don't want to audition for this? They can't find the girl. It's a great part, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, God, no. And then, then it happened. And then I read the script, and I went, wow, she's a great character. And, yeah. But, never, Tommy and I never, ever, and Tommy Lee Wallace, none of us ever thought it would have this kind of strange cult following, strange and wonderful cult following.
Yeah, I mean,
of all the things I did, that was the one I went, nobody will know about this. Nobody wants to hear about it.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
It's straight from the formula. The first two, there's no Michael Myers. It's
right.
It's its own movie, And,
exactly. Yeah. To me, it's far more interesting because it's a little more sci-fi film. It's more like Invasion of the Body Snatchers and has a little more to say than just let's scare the crap out of people and have a lot of blood. Yeah. So. And there were some very terrifying, creepy moments in it, certainly.
Oh, yeah.
But, none of us ever thought that any of this would happen. So, we get to see each other at these conventions, and it's fantastic,
Yeah.
Great fans. I mean, terrific fans. And they're all really interesting. I'm sure you've been to some of these
lots of them
conventions, right?
I've been to lots of them, yes, the last 4 years or so. Yeah.
A unique bunch, right? Like fans.
Yeah. And they're very smart too, and they
exactly. That's what I was gonna say. They are not dummies. They're interesting, nerdy kind of guys, right? And women. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. They've got that certain side of their brain cooking, like really well.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting group of people. I agree, and I love getting to meet them and talk to them, and it's been a real blessing.
Yeah, I've met Tom Atkins. He's a great guy.
Oh, fantastic guy. Yep. Yeah.
What was Dan O'Hurley like?
He was actually quite warm and wonderful, but wow, was he talented, because the minute, Tommy Lee would say action, it would just, like a curtain would drop, and he would get into that cold Dr. Chalice energy. He was friggin' amazing. He was really, really talented.
Yeah.
Just, had that. So, when you see this performance go out, this guy was probably a real dick in real life, too. Like that cold thing. He was in it all like that, which to me is the mark of a great actor, because it was not his persona in what you would see off camera. He was great. Mm-hmm. What a talented man,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And during that time, didn't you almost get cast in Blade Runner?
Oh, I was cast in Blade Runner. The story is I screen tested initially to play Pris. Pris. And it was, the coupling was Sean, what's her name?
Sean Young.
Oh. What's her name?
Sean Young.
Yeah, Sean Young. Thank you. Hello.
Yeah.
It was Sean Young and Daryl Hannah, and an actress who was a very good friend of mine at the time, Nina Axelrod.
Oh, yeah.
Who became the casting director, and me. So we were the pairings. It was only the four of us, one couple and another couple who were going to be screen tested. And in those days, they did, like, real screen tests, like real 36 millimeter makeup, hair, the whole whole fucking deal. And Ridley thought I was too small to conceivably beat up Harrison Ford in each fight. And I went, okay, well, that's, a bummer. And then they offered me this part of Mary that's in the, I guess, whatever the trilogy of the books that it's based on. There was this other replicant named Mary who had this incredible death scene. So I was dying, and I remember part of it was me sticking my hand in boiling water and pulling out eggs or something. I can't even remember, but it was a great couple of scenes. And I was hanging out on the set, and, we did the full makeup and hair and wardrobe, and this went on for a couple of weeks. And then I remember getting a call. I was at Jane Fonda's workout at a payphone. Remember, do you know what payphones are, Tommy?
Yep, I'm old enough to remember.
How old are you?
I'm 36.
Oh, you're still, no, I don't know that they had them in your day.
They did, I swear.
When you were a kid, okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, and I got a call, and it was from Michael Dealey, the producer, and he said, "Oh, darling, I'm so sorry, we're way over budget, and we haven't gotten to shoot your part yet, and I'm sorry, I'm going to just have to cut you from the film altogether." And I guess the actor's strike or the writer's strike, there was some big strike going on at the time, too. And they just, they paid me to do the part that I never got to do. And that was a big fucking loss, because that, even a small part,
yeah,
it was an incredible film.
It's a classic.
An incredible film. And I was very flattered that, Ridley had me come when they had the 25th anniversary. There was a big, big thing they had in L.A. at the in Hollywood, and they had a big Q&A and all that, and
right.
I got to be part of it. But that was worse than being cut from Annie Hall, I think.
Really?
Really, in a certain way, yeah. Because
I think you're equal.
It was a terrific part.
Yeah, I think you're equal.
Yeah, and I was madly in love with Rutger Hauer, who was in a Dutch film called Kietje Tippel, one of my favorite films, and he had done a film before that called Turkish Delight. I was very into foreign films when I was a teenager. And then here I get cast with him, and I get to work with him, and but I didn't.
Yeah.
I kind of was about to, and then didn't. But I got to hang out on the set and all that stuff. That was a huge disappointment.
Yeah, he did that race car movie Spedders.
Right.
You remember that one?
That's right.
Yeah.
Wasn't that Paul Verhoeven also?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, but he was Paul Verhoeven's guy.
Yeah.
So sad that he died. So sad.
Yeah, he was like the Dutch Paul Newman with those eyes.
Oh God, he was absolutely magnificent. He really was.
Yeah.
I mean, beyond. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely.
How about working on the infamous Yellowbeard?
Oh my God, my favorite experience of all time.
Really?
That was the one, because I mean, wow, that it's like the jackpot of comedians. I hit the jackpot there, getting to work with all of those people. It was unbelievable. And I had a big thing with Peter Cook at the time. We met, and we just that was like it for the whole film. It was an incredible experience. Yeah.
You will
it
never.
It was
yeah.
a lot of laughs. A lot of laughs. A lot of getting high in between shooting and doing comedy improv with the guys, around the table. And I mean, they were verbally the quickest wits you can imagine.
You'll never see a cast with that kind of talent again.
Never. There was something though, kind of I don't know if it was bad luck on the film. I mean, so many people died. Marty Feldman died when we did it, right before the end. Then Madeline Kahn died, and Jane Mason died, and Graham Chapman died, and I mean, just one after the other. Tragic, and a lot of them, with the exception of James Mason, who was already in his 70s or 80s.
Yeah.
Really premature. So, yeah. But that was a dream come true to me to get to do that part. That was extraordinary. And, they had such high hopes for that film. We had the film crew, the documentary crew that made the making of Raiders of the Lost Ark, hanging out, following us, filming us, interviewing us for the whole movie. I mean, Orion Pictures thought this was going to be the second coming.
Yeah.
And it sank.
Yeah.
That was it, So very, very unfortunate. Because that would have made my career, that part.
Yeah.
That would have done it. But, wasn't meant to be, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny.
But I had fun doing it.
That was Mel Damsky's first theatrical movie, and he had another failure right after that called Mischief, which is one of my favorite teen movies. And the first time I ever saw a naked girl was Kelly Preston in that movie.
Well, that was Kelly Preston, not Leah Thompson. Kelly Preston, right?
Yes.
Right.
Leah Thompson was Back to the Future that same year, though.
Right. Yeah, Kelly Preston, right. She broke George Clooney's heart when I first met him, and yeah. Yeah, I didn't hear great things about her. What can I say?
Yeah, me neither.
I don't know her.
Yeah.
Whatever. So, yeah.
And then Cubs' Alan Arkish's Get Crazy.
Oh, what fun that was. Yeah. That was a lot of fun. That was, that was a crazy fucking movie. And I think you have to see it stoned. I don't think you can watch it or understand it any other way. But Alan, right after the movie, I don't know, a few months later, was in New York, and I happened to be in New York, and called me and said, Stacey, Jeannie, whatever her name was, she was the big star of General Hospital, was supposed to, he said, well, this is how he presented it. He said, how would you like to come and flirt with Mick Jagger for an afternoon? I said, what? He said, yeah. So Jeannie, whatever her name was supposed to play, in the thing with Bette Midler, the video.
Yeah.
That he did of Beast of Burden. So I got to spend a couple of days flirting with Mick Jagger and hanging with Bette Midler, and that was, great.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
I've seen that video, yeah. But
yeah, they used to play that when MTV was first airing videos, and believe me, they had no content at the time, like none. They aired that video, I don't know, probably 10 times a day. And, none of us made any money on it. We never got residuals or anything, but certainly got seen a lot. At the time, I don't know, there were probably 10 videos that they had play, on a rotating loop, 24/7. So it was, every hour they would play it. So
yeah,
that was a really fun opportunity, though. Yeah.
Yeah, and Get Crazy is full of so many great musicians and stars. Malcolm McDowell, Gail Edwards, Ed Begley Jr., Lou Reed.
Gail was great, and Daniel Stern. And
Flo and Eddie.
Right. Oh, my God. And Eddie Ving. Was that his name? Eddie Ving?
Flo and Eddie.
Great people.
Howard Kalin.
Really fun. And, the rock and rollers and, oh, my God, and Paul, what was his name? And Mary Warner.
Paul Bartel and Mary Warnoff.
Mary Warnoff, right. Like, just amazing cast he had. Really interesting people, yeah.
And one of Linnea Quigley's earliest movies, she plays a groupie in it.
Oh, I love it. I was a groupie, I guess, in it, too. But, it was, and we got to shoot at that fabulous theater that looks like maybe something's going on there now in downtown L.A. on Wilshire Boulevard. What was it? The Wiltern.
The
Wiltern Theater.
Yeah.
It looks like it's still So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I've never been there. But,
Art Deco, the whole thing. But
I've been to some good theaters some great theaters in LA, but that one I haven't been to.
Okay, it's downtown on Wilshire. Yeah.
How about the episode you did of the Twilight Zone reboot?
Oh, that was and to get to work with Victor Garber, he was fantastic. That was another fun one because I remember beating out like stiff competition. Jennifer, oh God, what's her name? I forgot the other sister. She had Jennifer Tilly. Jennifer Tilly. There were like all these kind of big name people coming in for this part. I have no idea how I got it, but that was a great episode we got to do.
Yeah.
A really, really good, typical Twilight Zone, kind of with that twist at the end, which I love. Kind of like Halloween 3, It had that really pure sci-fi thing.
Yeah, I love it when you, take your head off and you're an alien.
Right. Oh, I forgot. Right, at the end, I forgot, yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty cheesy, but very effective and scary,
Yeah.
And the legendary Ken Tobey was in that.
Ken Tobey? Who's that? I know that name.
He was the sheriff, or one of the sheriffs.
Oh, my God, of course. He was in an original Twilight Zone, right from the 50s.
Yeah.
That's right. I remember they made a big deal about him. Exactly, of course.
He had a Western series in the 50s, too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Of course, totally. Yep. I'm remembering the face now. Tall and blondish, reddish, hair,
Yeah.
Yep.
So you continued working into the 90s, but what made you go from a working actress to an expert on relationships and parenting?
Well, oh boy, I think having kids and it being too difficult to get jobs, and realizing that I also had a brain that I wanted to use. I haven't been doing the parenting relationship and parenting and relationship kind of things anymore. I became a certified alcohol and substance abuse counselor. So I have been working for the last 4 years at a place in New York with mostly guys that got out of prison or out of the mental ward. Most of them are homeless, and they all had serious mental health issues and substance abuse issues. So I do the intakes, and I do some counseling, and I run groups. I run a writing group. I was doing a drama group with them and some trauma groups, and it is the most rewarding thing I think I've ever done in my life besides being a mother. So, it's been really eye-opening, and I feel very fortunate to be able to do it, and really see and know and get to love these people that are invisible to most people. I mean, most of my clients, I'll see them sometimes outside panhandling, when I'm walking. They are the people that, until I had started working with them, I would have ignored, or given, a buck and kept walking on. But, these are people that, have so many issues and have had so much trauma early on in their lives. And, they need love. They're just trying to get their act together and, have open hearts, and it's wonderful. So that's what I've been doing.
Did it get to a point too where you just you couldn't stand auditioning anymore?
Well, when the parts that I was being sent up for, like a friend of mine is a manager, she sent me in for something last year. It was literally 3 lines in some, independent film that probably never even got made. It's like, oh, come on, I used to do leads in big studio films. I can't.
Yeah.
And I, audition, and let me tell you, it's a lot harder to audition doing 3 lines than doing a scene. It's a lot harder. But, and would I love to act again? Sure, but the auditioning and I don't even know what's out there for me. I mean, I watch some of these Netflix shows, and some of them are obscure little shows, and you see these huge famous actresses doing like one line, or one tiny little scene in it, and I'm thinking, well, they were already big names. I never had a big name. What would I be doing? Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I mean, I still keep in shape and hanging in there, looking okay, but it's so hard. It's so hard to get the job. That's the problem, So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You still look gorgeous.
Well, you're very sweet.
My pleasure.
You're very sweet.
My pleasure.
I'd love to work again, but it's obviously not meant to be, or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's a quandary a lot of us, and not just actors, we all kind of find ourselves at a certain point. It's so much time to just audition, and then so you get a part, and then what,
Yeah.
The careers are much harder to come by these days. I was very lucky that I was working when I was working, because I think, this day and age, everything's so fragmented. I think it's a lot harder for people starting out in their teens or 20s to get a real career going today,
Yeah, we're in this, post 9/11 world of selfishness and greed, and we just don't know, what's going to give,
Right.
What the fuck is going on?
It's pretty vile. It's pretty awful. Yeah.
I would ask you for advice on relationships, but I've been putting my love life on the back burner since my car accident 5 years ago.
What happened? What kind of car accident? What happened?
Well, me and this guy, who at the time I thought was my friend, but he was just a piece of shit, we were out drinking one night in San Francisco, and I fell asleep in the passenger seat. He fell asleep at the wheel.
Oh,
and
no.
we ended up in the middle of the road. We got out okay. I mean, my hand was cut up and everything, but everything was fine. But then a car collided with ours, and the impact hit us, and I got the worst of the injuries, and I got into a coma.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Tommy, that's so scary. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
So that must have made you rethink life in general, because you almost lost yours, right?
Yeah. I've been sober for 5 years, since January 21st.
Oh, good for you. Okay, so
Thank
were
you.
you an alcoholic?
I was pretty bad for about 4 years of drinking.
Okay.
My whole family's alcoholics, and I was always, said to be the one that wasn't going to be one, but I was for a brief time, and
right.
I don't regret it, because it actually made me have some fun and loosen up, because I was really stressed out during that period.
Yeah.
And I'm very proud that I'm sober. I'm going to keep going on that. I don't want to drink again.
Good for you. I'm proud of you too.
Thank you.
When these things are in your blood genetically, and alcohol's legal, it's very hard. It's very difficult. So, do you go to 12-step meetings?
I've been to a couple of meetings, and there's so many seedy people there, and it's just it just turns me off, I have no will to drink,
Okay.
So I don't really need AA.
Okay. Well, I would just like to suggest one thing, and that is that something I tell all my clients is that, and for me too, with my own issues of addiction, we use whatever it is, a substance, a behavior, whatever, so that we don't have to feel certain feelings. And, as long as you're aware of what was driving you to drink, like you said, you were, more outgoing and you were more relaxed, you want to find other ways, and what it is, that feeling that made you want to drink, so that you don't relapse, right?
Right.
And so that you can, because this is all a process of self-discovery. Who am I? Who am I without the alcohol now? Right?
Yeah.
Like you're saying you're not dating. It's probably very scary because I'm sure you were dating a lot of women while you were, drinking. Of course, it loosens everybody up. But we also make really bad fucking choices when we're drunk or under the influence or too needy or whatever.
Yeah.
So as long as you're uncovering, I agree that some of those meetings you can get some seedy people.
Yeah.
But if you can find the right one, or maybe even an Al-Anon meeting for you, because as you said, everybody in your family's drinking, it's the spiritual part of it to me that I love, that letting go, letting God, finding some kind of faith without it, that opens up everything else in your life. And that to me is what's so beautiful. And that it is community. It's people helping each other stay clean and sober. Not for free, right? Not like some, $3,000 a day rehab. So,
my brother's been to that. Yeah.
And did it help him?
No. We had to turn him in last September, and he's in a mandatory rehab facility, but he's doing very well. In fact, they made him a leader of. He had to work for Salvation Army while he's there, and they made him a leader, and I'm really glad.
Good for him, then. We get it when we get it. But, the dating, so you're not dating anybody for a couple of years now, huh?
Yeah.
You're young and adorable. I mean, come on. Well, seriously. So this is, part of your process. It's probably going to be very scary to date somebody and not drink to get loosened up. But this is part of your story and your his story, and that's all okay. You got so much going for you. Come on.
Oh,
seriously.
thank you.
No, I mean that.
But
you have to feel that and know that. But I'm sure you feel like I remember the feeling when I was first pregnant with my daughter and going to a party, and I just felt like a raw nerve. I felt so exposed and so vulnerable and so, I don't know, surreal. And I imagine, when you're drinking, and then all of a sudden you're not drinking, especially with social situations, it's very difficult. But maybe you'll meet somebody who's got the same kind of issue, and then together, you can talk about that.
I would like to meet someone who's like me. And I was
AA, get thee to a meeting.
Yeah.
So, seriously.
I was dating before, I was drinking. But I was such an asshole when I was drinking. It's just like, I feel so bad, I mean, I'll tell you this much. I mean, I have always been a gentleman to women, and I have always hated guys who like physically or sexually abused women. Always, But like, I was just an asshole, and I'm trying to make up for it just by, taking, my time day by day and just being me and working on myself and all that stuff. Yeah.
Well, that's part of the spiritual program, right? Is we make amends to others. People we were an asshole to while we were drunk, and that's part of it. And make amends, first of all, or hopefully to ourselves. You got to forgive yourself, but you're almost punishing yourself still by not letting yourself meet a woman, if I may say. So this is something to look at, because 4 years is a long time, especially when you're at your age. You want to meet somebody, right?
Right.
Okay, so you were an asshole. Who wasn't an asshole when they were drinking or in the throes of an addiction? An asshole in whatever way it was, whether it was overtly. I was an asshole my own way by, not communicating and going, ghosting or going AWOL, right?
Yeah.
In relationships. I mean, that because I didn't know better at the time. But you got to find some forgiveness for yourself. That's where the 12-step meetings are so great, because those 12 steps really do work. And if you can find a meeting where it's not the sleaze factor, and I understand that some of them really do have that, might be better for you. And you can do, it's also the same thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And believe me, a lot of the people in Al-Anon were also alcoholics. But, you know, you don't want to wind up like my second husband, who was a pothead, who had quit smoking weed when we met. Mm-hmm. And it's unfortunate because he was so fucking uptight. He would have been a lot better had he been smoking weed. And, of course, now he's smoking weed again. But he never went through any kind of real process of wondering why he smoked weed every day, all day of his life, and could have had a huge career as a lawyer and, you know, incredibly intelligent guy.
Yeah.
And, you know, whatever. But, you know, you don't want to miss that step. That's like what we call a dry drunk. You know,
yeah.
You don't want to miss the step of the self-discovery and forgiveness for yourself and forgiveness for other people, you know, whoever in your family was an alcoholic. And believe me, when there's more than one person in the family, it's, you know, it's like 90% you're going to become one too, right? I mean, it happens. And alcohol is a nasty, nasty, nasty substance, you know, it gets under your skin before you know it. You're needing it, not wanting it.
Yeah.
And, right?
Yes.
But you don't want to miss that step, Tommy, of what drove you to drink and letting go of all this and seeing life now as scary as it is, dating or any of those things, being intimate without the alcohol. You can do it. Mm-hmm. But that's where, you know, the program comes in, and you can share about that. And other people go, God, me too. I had my first date, and I didn't know what to say. And that's what's so great about 12-step meetings, is if you share, when somebody hears your story, you're going to get 10 people coming up to you and going, oh, man, I went through the same thing, and you feel not so alone. You know, we all think we're so fucked up on our own and nobody can relate. We can all relate, believe me. Mm-hmm. Everybody can relate, and that's the beautiful universality of everything, right? Especially we find that out in these kind of programs, you know?
Yeah.
Our feelings and our experiences are not as unique as we think. You know, and you'll hear things, you go, wow, I thought I was bad. This guy's really fucked up.
Yeah.
You know, that's the other thing, is it always makes us feel better, too, right?
Right.
So maybe you might judge yourself and go, well, I don't belong here. I'm not that fucked up. I don't need this. You know, it's all our head. Our egos do that stuff. But I encourage you to go find the right meeting. Where do you live?
I live in Redding, California.
Okay, there's got to be some good meetings there. Just keep going until you find the right one. It's like any kind of class or whatever. It always depends on who's in there, right? That's right. What makes up the feel of it, the vibe. So when you find the right one, and it only takes, you know, meeting one nice person who you can relate to in there. That's all you need. Mm-hmm. And then it can be your home, because the program's quite something. Mm-hmm. And it saved a lot of people. I was in an ACA meeting, Adult Child of Alcoholics. My dad was a hardcore heroin addict.
Oh.
And he died from, you know, overdosing when he was 37. So, you know, and I was 17. Oh. You know, so I get it, because we all have similar behaviors growing up around that. People out of control, people, you know, having their substances having to come first before we did. All that stuff, you know, makes us become certain types of people, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But don't be afraid. You're adorable. You're smart. You're funny. Come on.
Oh, thank you.
Seriously, get yourself out there, Tommy. Life is short.
Okay.
You gotta, you know, if you do stand-up, right?
Yes.
I mean, my God, if you have the balls to stand up on a stage and try to make people laugh, you can get out there dating without a drink. Believe me. Mm-hmm. Seriously, I mean that. I hear you like you're not believing me.
No, I am believing you. It's just your words.
Really?
Your words are so beautiful. I'm just letting you talk.
Okay, because I think doing stand-up must be the most frightening thing on the planet to do. Like, you got to have balls of steel.
You do. It is just fucking insane. The worst part about stand-up, though, is the shit that goes on backstage with other comedians. They are fucking, fucking bullies.
You've watched Crashing, right?
Crashing. No.
On HBO. Oh God, the tall, what is his name? He started out doing like some Christian kind of comedy. Oh, look up Crashing. It's hilarious. And every big comic has been on the show.
Actually, I think I heard about this show, but I didn't know the name of it.
It was on for like 4 seasons. It's fucking great. And they've got all that backstage, assholishness.
Oh, Pete Holmes.
I'm sure.
Pete Holmes, yeah. Okay, I have heard of this show, yeah.
You gotta watch it. You'll relate, I'm sure.
I will.
Right. So, look, it's like showbiz. It's awful, and people can be really awful. So if you can handle that, you can, believe me, you can handle meeting a woman and being you. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
Dropping all that stuff. Right?
I'll definitely keep an open mind and listen to what you're saying, Stacey. I promise.
Come on, life is short.
I promise.
Really, really, really.
I promise.
Okay.
I was curious. You mentioned before that you lived with Perry King.
Uh-huh. Yes.
Were you with him when he did Class of 1984?
Yes, I was. Michael J. Fox's first film.
Yes.
Yep.
I interviewed a couple people from that movie, and they told me what assholes those producers were.
I think it wound up being a pretty tough experience. I remember going to the set in Toronto. Was it Mark Lester? Who was the director?
Yes, Mark Lester.
Was it Mark Lester? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, but yeah. But Michael J. Fox, I remember Perry talking. There's this guy. He's really short, and he's, got great charisma, and, and look what happened to him.
Yeah. And, they told me that all the stars of the movie had all the best food during lunch, and that the extras had to eat peanut butter and jelly. I think that's fucked up.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
That is really fucked up. Wow. That's really fucked up. Elitism. Snobby. I don't like that.
Hierarchy, yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. Wow.
I was an extra in a music video, and oh my God, we had like 40 boxes of pizza, and we all ate that, and we all got to take some home.
Right, that's as it should be. I forgot about the good food on set. Yeah.
Craft services, yeah.
It was certainly in abundance, wasn't it?
Yeah. So, Stacey, there's this game that I like to play with my guests, and how this works is it's silly slumber party questions. It's like the anti-James Lipton questionnaire on Inside the Actor Studio. And how this works is I ask you the question, you answer it, and then you ask me the exact same question, and I answer it.
Okay.
Stacey, are you ticklish?
Yes, very. Tommy, are you ticklish?
I am baby ticklish, yes. What is your favorite part of the body?
Oh, my favorite part of the body would be of anybody's body or my body? What's the question?
Anybody's.
Anybody's body. Wow. Oh, wow. Maybe the chest. I like chests on them. What's the favorite part of the body for you, Tommy?
I love the belly button.
Okay.
Do you ever contemplate your belly button?
No, I always had belly button issues. Do you ever contemplate? Because I used to have an Audi when I was little, and then it went, more in. But I never liked my belly button. Do you contemplate your belly button?
I do every single day. And just for the record, I think Audi belly buttons are hot.
Well, when I was pregnant, I had a big Audi belly button, but so do all women. Right.
What color are your toenails painted?
Oh, brown. What color are your toenails painted, Tommy?
They're not painted right now, but last time they were purple with sparkles.
Oh, lucky toenails of yours. I like that.
Yeah. And then my favorite question, is there a stinky smell that just makes you gag?
Oh, yes. My cat's pee.
Ugh,
Is there a stinky smell that makes you gag?
I'm with you on the cat piss, but I would have to say either farts or feet.
Oh, my husband likes the smell of feet.
Really?
Yeah, he likes that.
I mean, I have a foot fetish, but I want them to be clean.
Right. Oh, yeah. Not like dirty, but, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think my other least favorite smell might be cat, the cat food. The fishy, yeah.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
Right? Bad.
Yeah. I try to avoid feeding my cat actual cat food. I just give her these little treats, these little, meow mix treats. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because the canned stuff is vile.
It is very vile.
Bad. Yeah.
It's very vile. Do you have any new books or anything you want to plug?
Oh, new books that I'm writing or that I'm reading?
That you're writing or something.
Well, actually, I am working on my memoir. I'm starting, and it's very slow going, but I will be writing about all of it at some point. So no, nothing yet, nothing at the moment to plug. But I am getting back a little more on social media, and I think I'm doing a convention in Florida, in Orlando in October, and I can't remember what it's called. It's a fairly new one. And I think my guy is seeing if I'm going to be doing the Horror Hound convention in September.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's so much fun, getting to do the conventions. Oh, and they might be, never mind. I don't want to bring that up yet, because it's not a done deal yet. But I'll be seeing Tommy, Atkins and Tommy Lee Wallace at these things. And, nothing else to plug.
Well, I hope they book you in California, because I'd love to meet you in person.
Oh, definitely. I'd love to meet you too. So at some point, hopefully, they'll fly me out, and I'll do one of the conventions there, and you'll come say hi. I would love that.
There's so many cons in California are cheap. They don't want to fly out people out of state unless it's a really, really popular horror franchise that they're going to do like a whole panel and the whole reunion thing for. Yeah. It's stupid.
Yeah. Well, if one of them gets not so cheap, then I'll come in. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Can I tell you a couple jokes really quick, Stacey?
Yes, please do.
You know the difference between a golf ball and a G-spot?
No, what?
It takes a man 20 minutes to find the golf ball.
Oh, I like that. That's good. Is that your joke?
I heard it somewhere a long time ago, and I tell it all the time. And some women, it goes over their head. Other women laugh their asses off.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot.
Thank you. You can use that one.
I can quote you, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course. You know why men like to marry virgins?
Why?
Because they can't stand criticism.
That makes sense. I can understand that one. I think that's more true than funny.
Yeah.
Funny too, but
yeah.
sad at the same time.
Yeah. Well, Stacey, this was one of the most amazing Valentine's Day gifts of my life. Thank you so much.
You are too sweet. You're funny. Now you're being funny.
I'm serious, though.
I mean, the jokes were funny, too. I'm sorry. I didn't want you to think the jokes weren't funny, too. This was a pleasure.
Yes, you're a wonderful lady and a true mensch, I have to say. And
Great talking to you.
Yes, and I hope I get to meet you at a convention someday soon.
Me to you, and you take good care of yourself, okay?
Okay, and let's connect on Facebook.
Well.
Okay.
Thanks so much. Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, there you have it. Stacey Nelkin. Ain't she a sweetheart? Like I said, a true mensch. She is fucking awesome. Thank you so much, Stacey, for being my Valentine guest today. If you like this video, everyone, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Add me as a friend on Facebook. Join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram and all that fun stuff. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later, dudes. Say it again. Say it again. Say it again.